Are you having doubts? Do you believe that the governing body leaders of Jehovah's Witnesses, do you believe that they are God's chosen vessel on earth? Why are you asking questions? You're supposed to blindly believe. See, these are things that Jehovah's Witnesses would say to someone who's having sincere doubts. They would say this to someone who's having sincere concerns about their religion, about this Jehovah's Witness religion, right? If you were to be sincere and express your doubts, and keep in mind, you're just being honest with yourself. You're being honest with yourself and others by asking questions, by expressing your doubts. And Jehovah's Witnesses would be so quick to defend the organization. They would be so quick to gaslight you when you're being sincere. A Jehovah's Witness would say, "Oh, you're having doubts? Do you still believe that the governing body leaders are God's chosen vessel on planet Earth?" That's all they care about. The minute you say no, or "Oh, I don't know, things are not adding up, oh, they keep flip-flopping, new light, and I don't know." You say anything in that realm, people will start to shun you. And keep in mind, you're just being honest with yourself. You can't do that as a Jehovah's Witness. You have to lie to yourself. You have to lie to everybody as a Jehovah's Witness. If you do have questions, or if you do have any doubts, what do you do as a Jehovah's Witness? You put that to the back of your mind. You don't entertain those questions. You don't entertain those doubts at all. Instead, you have to remain fake and just keep going. Keep going to the meetings, keep going on the service, keep doing your part. But meanwhile, you have questions, you have things up here that don't quite add up. It doesn't quite add up. But yet, a Jehovah's Witness, they will be so quick to ask you, "Oh, why are you asking questions? Why are you having doubts? You're supposed to blindly believe." Even though we don't have any sufficient proof that the governing body leaders are Jehovah's Witnesses, we have no proof that the men in charge really are God's spokesmen. We have no proof, but we're going to continue to blindly believe anyway. That is what goes on in the mind of Jehovah's Witness. When things don't add up, a Jehovah's Witness, they keep running on that hamster wheel. They keep running and running and running on that hamster wheel until they grow old and eventually pass away. That is the life of a Jehovah's Witness. Now, when I did my research, right, like I said in my last video, when I did my research, I wanted this to be the truth. I wanted to prove ex-members wrong. I wanted to stand up for the organization. But unfortunately, when you're presented with facts, you can't. Your faith is obsolete at that point. So it doesn't matter what you believe in. When you see facts that what you believe in is not the truth, you go with facts. You don't go with your faith. That's wrong. You go with the facts, right? That's presented right in front of you, right? Now, Jehovah's Witness, they would be so quick to say, "Oh, we're not a cult. We're not a cult at all. We're just a regular religion, and we believe in this organization. We have love for our brothers and sisters. We have love for everybody." Until you start asking questions. The minute you start asking questions, that's when things get a little tricky. We don't like it when people ask questions. We like it when people just blindly believe. They go to the meetings, comment at the meetings, go out in service, and run on that hamster wheel. That's what we like. That's why Jehovah's Witnesses run when people approach them at the carts. "Oh, we don't debate with people. We don't argue with people. Because they know that when people start to ask serious, sincere, critical questions, Jehovah's Witnesses can't answer those questions. And they for damn sure they can't answer those questions in 2025. Because a lot of their quote unquote new light, it's not adding up. And a Jehovah's Witness, like I said, they will be so quick to defend the organization. They'll be so quick to shun somebody who's asking sincere questions, right? But a Jehovah's Witness, you know what I do? When Jehovah's Witnesses, when I hear stories of Jehovah's Witnesses saying to people, "Oh, are you having doubts? Do you believe in the governing body leaders? Why are you asking questions?" When I hear witnesses say that nonsense, I wish people could boomerang that right back to them. Because I want to say to Jehovah's Witnesses, why aren't you asking questions? Why aren't you having doubts? Why are you blindly believing in the governing body leaders? Why? Oh, because it's easy to do, right? Because you feel like the minute you start to go down that rabbit hole, you might lose your community. You feel like the minute you go down that rabbit hole, you might lose your family and friends. That's why you don't even entertain those questions. That's why you don't even entertain those doubts. Because you know that if you were to go down that route, it might not end well. It might not end well. But it's time for people to start throwing those questions back to Jehovah's Witnesses. Why aren't you, Jehovah's Witnesses, asking questions? Why aren't you, Jehovah's Witnesses, having doubts? Especially when things don't add up. When 1 minute, your own leader would tell you, "Oh, men should not have facial hair because we want to be no part of the world." And the next minute, all these men are growing out facial hair because the governing body leaders gave them permission to do so. 1 minute, you cannot toast your glass. The next, no big deal. No big deal. So when your leaders contradict themselves, that is a valid reason for Jehovah's Witnesses to start asking questions. That's a valid reason for Jehovah's Witnesses to start having doubts about their religion. You're entitled to have doubts when someone says something that contradicts what they said previously, then yeah, you start asking questions. It's time to start asking questions. It's about damn time. But you see, when Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't care. I learned this the hard way. Jehovah's Witnesses don't care about real truth. They don't care about real facts. Because someone who cares about truth, you always want to learn. You always want to excel. You always want to transcend in life. You always want to be better tomorrow than you was yesterday. You always want to be more wiser, more smarter, right? But that doesn't work with Jehovah's Witnesses. That doesn't work. You see, the governing body leaders, they can say anything. They can literally say anything to Jehovah's Witnesses. As dumb as it may sound, Jehovah's Witnesses, they would just nod their head and go with the flow. And then someone who's wise, someone who's intelligent, someone who has common sense, who sees the manipulation, who sees the gaslighting that's going on from the governing body leaders down to the rank and file members. If you were to start to ask questions and say, "Hey, this doesn't make sense. The governing body leaders said this and this and this and this, and this don't make sense." People will look at you like, "Are you doubting Are you doubting the leaders?" Even if it makes no sense, the rank and file members will always go with the governing body leaders. Always. And I don't comprehend that at all. I don't comprehend that at all, because to me, if something don't make sense, I'm not going to just go with the flow just because the vast majority of people are doing so. Because that's the easy thing to do. And that's why there's an abundance of witnesses, because everybody is going with the flow. A lot of witnesses deep down inside, they have questions, they have doubts, they have concerns, but everybody's scared to say anything because they know that there's going to be repercussions. Fuck the repercussions. Forget the repercussions. And it's sad that witnesses, they're not thinking about the long term. The long term. What happens when you go with the flow because you're scared to ask questions. You're scared to express your doubts and concerns. So you go with the flow and you keep doing that, right? Because it's easy to do. But what happens when a year turns into 5 years? 5 years turn to 10, 10 years turn into 20 years, 20 years, next thing you know, turns into 50 years. And before you know it, boop, your life flashes before your eyes. Your life passes you by. And before you know it, you are an elderly person who has not lived your life to the fullest. Or because you were scared to ask questions. You were scared to be your true, authentic self. Do not let Jehovah's Witnesses gaslight you. When Jehovah's Witnesses ask somebody, do you believe that the governing body, just the other day, for instance, someone caught my grandfather, right? You guys know my grandfather, he's inactive, he don't believe in an organization anymore. He did his research, he woke up, right? The other day, my grandfather called me, I called him, and we had a good conversation. My grandfather told me that someone called him the other day, right? A brother called him the other day, and he asked him, do you believe that the governing body leaders are still God's spokesmen? And my grandfather said no. Right away, the guy said, I got another call coming in, right? Which is BS. But he wanted to be nosy and just wanted to hear from my grandfather's mouth if he really believed in the governing body leaders, if he still believed in the governing body leaders, right? Because my grandfather has been inactive. He doesn't go to the meetings anymore, right? And occasionally he still get witnesses. They still call him from time to time, just being nosy. They're not really checking up on him. They're just checking up just to see if he still believes, right? And the minute you tell a Jehovah's Witness that you no longer believe in an organization, that's when you see their true colors. And that's when you discover that these people that you thought were your friends, they're not really your friends, right? But do not, if you're having doubts, if you have questions about this religion, do not go down the route that Jehovah's Witnesses are going, because everybody is so scared. They're so scared to lose their community. You should always be more concerned. You should always be more scared to lose yourself than a damn community. You can always find a community. There's billions of people on this planet, with a B, billions of people on this planet. So forget the 8 million people that's scared to ask questions. Forget the 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses that's just going with the flow until they grow old and die. Forget that nonsense. Forget that nonsense. If they want to be scared and go with the flow and blindly believe until they grow old and die, let them do that. Let them do that. They're going to have regrets later on in life. That's on them. But as for you, do not let Jehovah's Witnesses gaslight you. If you have questions, if you have doubts, do your research. Ask as many questions as possible. Ask as many questions as possible. In fact, when people are wary of you asking questions, that's when it's time for you to be wary of those people. You should be, in any circumstance in life, you should always ask as many questions as possible. As many questions as possible. Because who wants to be lost? Who wants to be lost in the sauce? Who wants to be confused and bewildered and be like, what does this mean? Did he just say this and now he's saying, huh? What the fuck? Huh? Nah, bump that. Bump that. Bump that. Like I said, do not let Jehovah's Witnesses gaslight you. Now, one of my good friends in Michigan, right? One of my best buddies in Michigan, he told me the other day. He's an apostate. He's no longer part of the organization, left, right? He told me that he's inactive, right? But there's this elder who calls him or checks up on him from time to time, right? This elder is also a rapper. Nobody knows about it. This is how you know that the Jehovah's Witness organization is a cult. Because this elder, he's scared to be himself. He's scared. If you can't tell people, hey guys, I rap on the side. This is one of my hobbies. This is my passion. I love rap music. I'm a rapper. This is what I do. This elder cannot say that. Because as we know, Jehovah's Witnesses, they are not supposed to listen to rap music, let alone be a rapper. As an elder, the fuck? So this elder rapper, nobody knows that he's a rapper except my apostate friend who's an actor, right? I guess this elder trusts my apostate friend because he's an actor. He has, he's been an actor for quite a while, right? But when my friend told me about this elder, I had to laugh because I'm saying to myself, hold on. This is how, when witnesses say, oh, well, we're not a cult, this is how you know you're a cult. Because people are scared to be them true selves. If in any other religion, if this elder was in a regular church, for instance, right? He could easily tell people, hey guys, I'm a rapper. This is my podcast, my channel. Listen to me. I got CDs. I got my stuff online. You can't say that as a witness, because as we know, like I just said, rapping, even listening to rap music is a big no-no in the Jehovah's Witness world. You are not supposed to listen to rap music. We all know that. We all know that. But this elder, he's scared to be his true self because he knows damn well that there will be repercussions. If he were to tell everybody, hey guys, I'm a rapper, people would be like, huh? Witnesses would be like, hold on, you're a rapper? We're not supposed to listen to rap music. You're not supposed to be rapping. What? This is how you know the Jehovah's Witness organization is a cult. When you can't be your true self because you're scared that there's going to be repercussions. When you're scared, I can't ask questions because, people may view me as an apostate. I'm supposed to just believe. I'm scared to express my doubts because people might see me differently. If I tell them that I don't believe in this organization, if I tell them that I don't believe in the governing body leaders anymore, this is how you know that the Jehovah's Witness organization is a cult, because you cannot be yourself. Now, when I was a witness, right? You guys remember the movie, the Avengers movies, right? When those movies was coming out, there was Jehovah's Witnesses online on Facebook, right? They would say that they're going to the movies, but they would be so scared to post what movie. I'm like, why are you scared? Just say you seen the damn Avengers. Say you seen Spider-Man. Why are you scared to post where you're at? And they're scared because there's so many judgmental Jehovah's Witnesses. People would be like, oh, you're seeing the new Avengers movies, right? Isn't there a witch in that movie? Isn't there a sorcerer of some sort? Doctor Strange, doesn't he have some magical powers? Did you just see that movie as a Jehovah's Witness? Ooh, you might have some demons in your house tonight, buddy. You might have some demons in that house tonight. You see, you cannot ever truly be yourself as a Jehovah's Witness because people are so scared as to what other people might think of you. That's how you know that you're in a cult. When you're so scared to be yourself, your true self, because people might judge you. Forget people. We only have one shot in this life. There's no do-overs. There's no tape backs. There's no time machine. There's only one shot in this life, right? That's why when I did my research, I said there's no way in hell I'm going back to this religion. You couldn't pay me to go back. If it's not the truth, why would I waste my time in this organization? If this is just another man-made, money-making organization. So, once again, if you're having sincere doubts, if you have questions that you want to ask as many questions as you want. Do your research, because think about all the witnesses who's never going to do their research. Think about all the witnesses that's scared to ask questions. All these people, they're playing it easy right now, right? They have their community and everything right now. But all these people, the one thing that the majority of Jehovah's Witnesses have in common, this is the one thing that they have in common. all of them, the majority of them, the people who don't do their research and wake up, they're all gonna grow old and keep running on this hamster wheel, too scared to ask questions, too scared to express their doubts. They're all gonna keep running on this hamster wheel. They're gonna have their community. The one thing that they're going to have in common with their community is that they're all going to grow old and eventually die believing in a lie. That's the one thing that the majority of Jehovah's Witnesses is going to have in common. They all believe in this fake ass paradise shit. They're all going to grow old and eventually die believing in this. Or because they're scared to be them true selves. They're scared to ask questions. That's how you know that the Jehovah's Witness organization is a cult. You know how many jobs I've been to? And I don't want to, I obviously don't want to mess up on a job. I don't want to fuck up on a job, right? So of course I'm going to ask questions. Hey, what is this? Well, what is this? I'd rather ask questions than make a mistake later on. You can't do that as a Jehovah's Witness. You have to blindly believe. Keep your mouth shut. Even if it doesn't make sense, you have to keep running on that hamster wheel until the day you die. Not me, buddy. I ain't going out like that. Not me. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end this video. Once again, if you are a Jehovah's Witness who stumbled upon this video, I encourage you, ask questions. Do your research. Don't go with the flow. Because all those people that's going on with the flow, yeah, they want to keep their community. They're playing it safe. But you know what? When they grow old, they're all going to have one thing in common. And that's regrets. They're all going to regret that they didn't live their life to the fullest. They may not ever express it publicly, but deep down inside, every Jehovah's Witness, they're going to have that one thing in common. Oh, we don't want to ask questions. We don't want to be shunned. So we're going to keep our mouth shut and blindly believe until we grow old and eventually pass away. That's the life of a Jehovah's Witness. It's been like that for the past 150 years. People being born and raised, their parents, not starting with their parents, their great-grandparents, their grandparents, then their parents, they all said to themselves, oh, the paradise is right around the corner. The end is near. Their grandparents, their great-grandparents, grandparents, parents, all said this. Generation after generation after generation, all lied to themselves. No one even bothered to ask themselves, hey, how do we know that this is the truth? My parents said it. My grandparents said it. My great-grandparents said it. They all said the end was right around the corner and all generations died. Am I about to go down that same route? Or am I going to start a new chapter? That's a rhetorical question for you Jehovah's Witnesses that's watching this video. I'm going to end the video on that note. Love you guys. See you guys on the next one.